Money is not controlled by banks or markets. It is controlled by laws older than time. 7 hidden spiritual laws that decide whether you struggle or prosper. Have you ever wondered why some people attract wealth as if the universe itself bends in their favor, while others work tirelessly, yet find themselves always behind? Have you ever felt the sting of doing everything right, following the world's advice, only to be met with closed doors and empty accounts? What if I told you the difference is not luck but law? The world has taught you that money is about strategy, hard work, cleverness, and risk. But beneath all of that is a deeper foundation, an invisible framework, a set of sacred principles that govern the movement of money just as surely as gravity governs the fall of a stone. These laws do not bend to opinion. They do not favor the educated over the uneducated, the privileged over the forgotten, the loud over the silent. They are impartial, eternal, silent in their operation, but absolute in their outcome. Florence Scovel Shinn, a woman of deep metaphysical wisdom, declared that money is not the master of man but the servant of spirit. She knew that when spirit is rightly aligned, money cannot help but flow. It becomes a tool, not a tyrant, a river, not a prison. Imagine money as a river. The river does not ask who you are. It does not question whether you are worthy. It simply flows, and yet, most people build dams against it with their own fear, doubt, and careless words. They fight against the current. They stand knee-deep in the water, trying to catch it with their hands, wondering why it slips away. But those who understand the hidden laws do something different. They learn how to redirect the current. They step aside and let the water move freely. They build channels so the river pours directly into their lives. The truth is, you are not meant to live in endless struggle. You are not designed to beg the world for scraps. You are meant to live in alignment with these sacred laws that have governed wealth since the beginning of creation. And once you know them, once you understand them, your relationship with money transforms forever. But let me ask you something deep within. Do you believe money avoids you? Do you carry the silent fear that no matter what you do, wealth belongs to someone else? If so, you have been living under a lie that has blinded millions to their divine inheritance. The veil has been heavy, but today it begins to lift, because what you are about to hear is not opinion, it is not wishful thinking, it is divine law. Each of these 7 hidden principles is like a key that unlocks a door you have been standing before for years without realizing it. Perhaps you have knocked and heard no answer. Perhaps you have pushed and felt resistance. But once the key is in your hand, the door opens without effort. One by one, we will walk through them together. And as we do, you will begin to see that money has never been against you. The laws have only been waiting for you to align. Pause for a moment. Place your hand over your heart. Breathe slowly. Say softly within yourself, I am ready to learn. I am ready to receive. I am ready to walk through the hidden gates of divine prosperity. Let those words settle, because even as you speak them, the laws begin to shift in your favor. I know what some of you feel right now, a mixture of hope and doubt, a whisper that says, what if this is true? And another whisper that says, but what if it fails me again? Let me assure you, this is not another fleeting promise of wealth. This is not about tricks, shortcuts, or empty affirmations. This is about aligning yourself with principles that existed before you were born and will continue long after you are gone. Think of a divine orchestra, every instrument in perfect harmony. Money is only one instrument in that orchestra. If you focus only on it, you will miss the greater music. But when you listen to the conductor, when you follow the rhythm of divine law, the entire composition begins to play for you. Prosperity is the music, you are the listener, and now you are being invited to take your seat in the front row. So, let me extend this invitation to you now. If you are ready to step into the flow of divine prosperity, subscribe to this channel. Each day, I share teachings that awaken your inner wealth and guide you closer to the life God intended for you. This is not a journey you should walk alone. Join a community of souls who are learning, practicing, and living these truths daily. Together, we rise into alignment with the invisible current of abundance. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where struggle is replaced with flow, where confusion is replaced with clarity, where fear is replaced with faith. The old story is done. The new story is about to be written, and it begins with the first of 7 hidden laws. These laws are not just teachings, they are gateways, sacred gates that lead you from lack into supply, from anxiety into peace, from limitation into expansion. Behind each gate is a truth that once known cannot be forgotten. Behind each truth is a freedom that once experienced cannot be denied. The first key waits just beyond this moment. The first gate is about to open, and when it does, you will never see money the same way again. Florence Scovel Shinn once declared with unshakable certainty, "Your word is your wand." She understood what so many miss, that every sentence you release shapes the very fabric of your reality. Your speech is not idle. It is the architect's tool, the sculptor's chisel, the brushstroke on the canvas of your life. Imagine a sculptor before a block of marble. With every strike of the chisel, the formless takes form. So it is with your words. Each phrase you speak carves out your financial destiny. Words of lack carve out limitation. Words of faith carve out abundance. The marble does not resist. It simply yields to the tool, and your subconscious, the great silent stone of your life, yields in the same way. Consider the phrases people casually release. I can't afford this. Money never stays with me. Every time I get ahead, something goes wrong. These are not harmless complaints. They are commands. The subconscious does not argue, it obeys. It takes every word as instruction and arranges circumstances to fulfill it. The more these words are spoken, the deeper the groove is cut, until poverty becomes not just circumstance but identity. Now imagine the shift. New words, words aligned with divine law. Money comes to me by right of divine law. I walk in abundance. I live under grace, and every day is prosperous. At first, these words may feel strange, even untrue, but as the sculptor continues, the stone begins to reveal the figure within. The form hidden inside emerges. The subconscious, once carved by lack, begins to take the shape of prosperity. This is not imagination alone. This is vibrational law. Every word carries frequency. When you say, I can't afford this, your body tightens, your energy contracts, your spirit withdraws. When you declare, all that is mine by divine right now appears, your chest expands, your nervous system calms, your field opens. The words you speak alter the state of your entire being, and that state broadcasts into the world. The law responds, echoing back exactly what you declared. So I ask you, what words have you been sculpting your life with? Are they words of fear or faith? Words of lack or wealth? Words of bondage or freedom? Here is a sacred practice. Begin each morning with a journal reserved only for your affirmations. Write in your own hand declarations that align with divine supply, not hollow statements, but living commands. Then stand before a mirror and speak them aloud. Watch your eyes as you say, I am aligned with divine prosperity. I speak wealth into my life. Money serves me because I serve spirit. At first, your mind may resist. It will whisper, this is not true. Look at your bank account, but persist, because the subconscious does not need proof. It only needs repetition. And every time you declare these words, the groove of lack begins to fade, and the groove of abundance deepens. I remember a story of a man drowning in debt. Every day, he spoke of his struggle. He told his friends, I'll never get out. It's always the same. And life gave him exactly that. Then he came across this law. He decided, almost in desperation, to change his speech every morning. No matter how impossible it seemed, he declared, God is my instant and everlasting supply. I am free. I am prosperous. Within weeks, opportunities he had never seen began to appear. Clients called. Debts were forgiven. His life shifted. Not because the external world suddenly softened, but because his internal world began to command a new outcome. Words are the soul's compass. They point you either toward famine or feast. They guide you either to scarcity or sufficiency. And once your compass is set, your entire life follows. So, take a moment now, close your eyes, breathe deeply, whisper softly, my words create, my words command, my words align me with divine wealth. Let those words rest in your chest. Feel the shift. That is not imagination. That is law responding to the new signal you have released. There will be moments of temptation. You will feel the urge to complain when bills arrive. You will want to speak fear when unexpected expenses appear. Stop, breathe, and substitute. Replace the phrase, this will ruin me, with this is already handled by divine supply. Replace, I can't afford this with the money, for this comes easily and on time. Each substitution is a redirection of your words are not small. They are keys. They open doors or close them. They invite rivers of supply or deserts of drought. And the law is always listening. But words are only the beginning. They are the first law. the first strike of the sculptor's chisel. There is another law, just as vital, that reveals why resistance to money keeps it away. Because even if you speak abundance, if you resist the flow, the current cannot reach you, and that is where we go next. What if every time you worried about money, you were silently pushing it away? This is a truth most people never see. They believe that by clinging tighter, by stressing harder, by trying to force life to deliver, they will gain control. But Florence Scovel Shinn revealed the opposite. She taught that resistance is the great block, that the more you tighten, the more you drive supply away, that when you let go, when you soften into trust, the divine current begins to carry resources toward you. Think of water in your hand. When you clutch it tightly, it slips between your fingers. When you open your palm, the water rests there easily. So it is with money. The harder you grip, the faster it vanishes, the softer you release, the more it settles into your life. Non-resistance is not weakness. It is not passivity. It is spiritual alignment. It is the decision to no longer fight the flow of life, but to be carried by it. How often have you woken in the night, your mind racing over bills, your heart pounding with fear? That anxiety feels justified, but spiritually, it is an act of resistance. It says to the universe, I do not trust. I must hold everything myself, and the law mirrors that. You find yourself blocked, exhausted, and empty, but something shifts when you release. When you take a deep breath and whisper, I do not chase money, I rest in divine supply. All that belongs to me flows to me freely. At that moment, the chains around your chest loosen, the grip relaxes, the energy field around you opens, and life begins to deliver what was waiting all along. Here is a practice. Sit quietly, place your hand over your heart. Inhale deeply as if you are drawing in rivers of abundance. Exhale as if you are releasing fear, struggle, and strain. With each breath, see yourself floating on a great divine river. The water carries you effortlessly. You do not thrash, you do not grasp, you simply rest. And the current moves you exactly where you need to go. This breathing meditation is not small. It retrains your nervous system to stop resisting. It signals to your subconscious, I am safe, I am provided for. And when the subconscious accepts this truth, outer conditions rearrange. Opportunities that once seemed blocked now appear without effort. There is a story of a woman drowning in unpaid bills every day. She resisted. She called friends in panic. She begged life to change. The harder she pushed, the worse it became. One night, in tears, she remembered Florence's words, I do not resist. I put my situation in divine hands, and it is resolved. For the first time, she surrendered. She prayed, not with begging, but with release. The next day, unexpected help arrived. A debt was forgiven. A new job was offered. Nothing had changed outside until she let go inside. Non-resistance is like opening a locked gate. It is the whisper of release, the soul's quiet surrender. It is not giving up, it is giving over. Giving over to the law that knows more than you. Giving over to the rhythm of supply that has always been flowing toward you, but could not enter until you stopped blocking the door. Say this aloud now. Say it as a command to your soul. I do not chase money. I rest in divine supply. All that belongs to me flows to me freely. Let it echo in your chest. Let it settle into your bones. That is the voice of freedom. That is the power of non-resistance. Release is not laziness. It is wisdom. When you resist, you burn energy and attract struggle. When you release, you conserve power and attract grace. So if you find yourself tense, rushing, or panicking about money, pause, place your hand on your heart. Inhale supply. Exhale resistance. Whisper, I trust the current. And then act when the door opens. That is the balance, trust and action, not tension and force. Release opens the way. But release alone is not enough, because there is also timing. There is a divine clock that decides the hour when wealth arrives. You may trust the river, but you must also trust the hour it carries you to the shore. And that is the next law we must uncover. Have you ever asked, why hasn't it happened yet? That question has echoed in the hearts of countless souls. You pray, you affirm, you believe, and yet the thing you desire does not appear when you think it should. In those moments, impatience whispers, doubt creeps in, fear begins to rise. But Florence Scovel Shinn taught us a deeper law. Every answered prayer has its appointed hour. The seed does not sprout before it's seasoned. The fruit does not ripen before the sun has done its work. To demand it early is to fight against the divine clock. Imagine a farmer who plants his seeds. He waters them faithfully. He tends the soil. But if he digs them up every day to check their growth, he kills what he has planted. He must trust the invisible work beneath the soil. He must believe that the harvest will arrive in its perfect season. This is divine timing. It is not delay. It is orchestration. It is the sacred rhythm of the universe, aligning all things so that when your blessing comes, it does not harm you but uplift you. How often have you received something too soon and found it slipped away? A job gained in haste that crumbled, a relationship forced that could not last, money rushed into your hands only to vanish because the foundation was not ready. Timing is not punishment, it is protection, it is preparation. There is a divine orchestra at work. Every note of your life must be in harmony before the song of your blessing can be played. When you grow impatient, you step out of rhythm, but when you trust, you become part of the music. Here is a practice to anchor this law. Begin a divine date journal. Write your desires clearly, then release them into the hands of Spirit. Right beside them, appointed in divine time. Each time you feel anxiety, open that journal, see the words, and remind yourself that the calendar of heaven cannot be rushed and cannot be late. Say this affirmation with me. I rest in perfect timing. What is mine will come, and it cannot be delayed. Let those words sink deep into your spirit. They free you from the torment of hurry. They anchor you in faith. Waiting is not wasted time. Waiting transforms you. It trains your nervous system to rest in trust rather than burn in fear. It purifies your desire so that when your blessing comes, you can hold it without trembling. Impatience shouts, I do not believe. Patience whispers, I trust the law. And the law responds to trust like a seed responds to sunlight. Think of divine timing as the silent gate of destiny. You may press against it with all your might, but it will not open until the appointed moment. Yet when that moment arrives, the gate swings wide without effort. That is why Florence declared, Infinite Spirit opens the way for my great good. It comes in perfect timing. There was once a man who longed for financial freedom. He prayed daily. He affirmed abundance, but nothing seemed to change. One night, in despair, he released the timeline. He said, God, I trust your hour more than my own. Deliver it when I am ready. Weeks later, an opportunity appeared. It was larger than what he had asked, perfectly suited to his gifts. Had it come earlier, he would have ruined it, but in divine time, he prospered. So I ask you now, can you rest in the rhythm? Can you surrender your anxious question, why not yet, and instead breathe? When it is ready, it will come. This shift does more than calm the mind. It rewires your inner dialogue. It trains your subconscious to live in expectancy rather than panic. And expectancy is the vibration that attracts. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture a great clock tower in the heavens. Each hand moves with flawless precision. Your desire is already on its way, carried by that divine mechanism. You cannot rush the hour, but you can align with it. And when the bell strikes, your blessing will arrive without delay. Say it again with power. I rest in perfect timing. What is mine will come, and it cannot be delayed. Divine timing is the law of peace. It teaches you that you are not late, you are not forgotten. You are simply being prepared for the exact moment when heaven and earth align for your good. And yet, timing without vision is wasted, for when the hour strikes, you must have an inner image strong enough to receive what comes. That leads us into the next law, the sacred architect of your money, the divine instrument of creation, your imagination. There are foundations that hold a building, and there are blueprints that give it form. Without foundations, the house collapses. Without blueprints, it has no shape. Your wealth is the same. It is not a scattered accident of circumstances, nor a random scattering of coins. It is an architecture, an inner temple built by law. Florence Scovel Shinn declared that imagination, substitution, and gratitude are sacred instruments, pillars of the invisible cathedral of prosperity. And if you master these three, you will hold the keys to shaping financial reality with certainty and peace. Law 4. The Law of Imagination. Let us begin where every creation begins within. Florence said, a person can only receive what he sees himself. His hands move not because of the stone, but because of the vision. Your imagination is the same. Before money enters your account, before opportunity knocks, before the check arrives, your soul must have seen it. Most people misuse imagination. They rehearse failure. They picture unpaid bills stacking like a storm cloud. They see rejection, loss, collapse, and because their inner temple is filled with such pictures, life obliges by carving them into experience. But you are called to a higher law. You are invited to step into the silent gate of destiny where imagination becomes your sacred architect's table. Close your eyes and draw the blueprint. See yourself opening an envelope. Inside is a check with your name. Feel the paper in your hand. Feel your chest expand as relief turns to gratitude. Now imagine how you use it for food, for family, for freedom. The more vivid the picture, the more magnetic its pull. This is not daydreaming, it is divine rehearsal. It is wealth rehearsing its arrival through you. And every time you practice this, your subconscious mind accepts the vision as fact. Like a seed, it roots itself, calling resources, opportunities, and circumstances to clothe it in matter. Begin each morning with the architect's meditation. Close your eyes for 5 minutes. Picture yourself already living in the answer to your prayer. See not the lack, but the result. Feel it as real. Whisper to yourself, what I imagine with God is already mine. I am the architect of divine wealth. My imagination shapes my prosperity. What I see within, I soon hold without. Imagination builds. This is the first pillar of your inner architecture. Law 5. The Law of Substitution. But what happens when fear knocks? When the bill arrives and the old thought rises, I don't have enough. This is where the second law protects the structure. Florence taught the law of substitution. You cannot erase a thought, but you can replace it. You cannot stop the mind from speaking, but you can give it a higher script. Imagine standing in a garden, a weed appears. You do not curse the weed or stare at it helplessly. You pull it out and plant a flower in its place. The garden of the mind works the same way. Negative thoughts are weeds. Fear thoughts are thorns. And the only way to protect the soil of imagination is substitution, replacing the lower with the higher. When fear whispers, I fear debt, answer with faith, I celebrate provision. When lack says, I cannot afford this, answer with abundance. Everything I need comes by divine right. When doubt cries, it will never work. Answer with certainty, God is making a way even now. This is not denial, this is redesign. This is the spiritual law that refuses to let weeds choke the harvest. The Reframe Journal. Each evening, write down 3 fear thoughts you noticed during the day. Next to each one, write a substitution, a higher truth that carries divine vibration. Train your mind to default to faith, not fear. Neuroscience confirms what Florence knew. The brain does not forget, it rewires. When you substitute faith for fear long enough, the neural pathways of doubt wither, and new highways of confidence are built. What you repeat becomes automatic. What you rehearse becomes reality. I do not allow fear to speak the last word. I substitute every thought of lack with divine abundance. My inner dialogue is wealth, and my life reflects it. Substitution protects. It guards the blueprints of imagination, ensuring no crack forms in the foundation. Law 6. The Law of Gratitude. The third pillar multiplies what imagination builds, and substitution protects. Gratitude. Florence taught that gratitude is a spiritual magnet. It multiplies everything it touches. A grateful heart cannot live in poverty, for gratitude shifts the eyes from what is missing to what is present, and what is present expands. Think of gratitude as light. A room filled with shadows changes instantly when a lamp is lit. Gratitude is that lamp. When you say, thank you, God, for this dollar, that dollar glows with energy. When you bless the smallest coin, you open the door for greater sums. When you give thanks for what you already have, you harmonize with the divine current of increase. Gratitude is the divine orchestra tuning its instruments. Each thank you is a note, each blessing a melody, and as your gratitude rises, heaven itself joins in, creating a symphony that calls more wealth into your life. Spiritual practice. Begin a gratitude ledger. Each night, write down 10 things, financial or not, that you are thankful for. Thank God for the unexpected discount, the meal, the smile, the opportunity, the breath in your lungs. Over time, you will see how gratitude transforms not only money but your entire vibration of living. Gratitude rewires the scarcity-focused brain. It trains the nervous system to expect blessings instead of danger. Science shows that a daily gratitude practice changes perception, emotion, and behavior. Spirit shows that it also changes reality itself. I am grateful for every blessing, seen and unseen. Gratitude multiplies my wealth. I thank God now, and increase flows to me in divine order. Gratitude multiplies. It takes the seed planted by imagination and guarded by substitution, and it brings forth the harvest in abundance. The unified teaching now, see how these three laws dance together. Imagination builds, substitution protects, gratitude multiplies. Together, they form the inner architecture of wealth. Without imagination, there is no design. Without substitution, the design is corrupted. Without gratitude, the design bears no fruit. But with all three, your financial reality becomes a temple of divine order. Picture it. You imagine receiving. You substitute every fear with faith. You thank God for even the smallest coin. This trinity of practice builds a momentum so strong that no outer circumstance can stop it. You are not at the mercy of the world. You are aligned with the laws that govern it. And when you live this way, you no longer chase money. Money becomes a servant of vision. You no longer fear bills. Bills become reminders of the divine provision already set aside for you. You no longer resent delays. You trust that the orchestra is tuning, the harvest is growing, the blessings are multiplying. Sacred prayer, infinite spirit, I bless the blueprint of my prosperity. I guard it with truth. I multiply it with thanks. May my life be a testimony that divine wealth is real, available, and flowing to all who align with your law. But even as you build this inner temple, one crown law remains. It is the law that places God, not money, at the center. It is the law that reveals the true source of supply beyond every check, job, or investment. It is the final key that completes the circle. Law 7, the divine source of supply. Every law we have explored has prepared you for this one. Words shape, non-resistance frees, timing aligns, imagination builds, substitution protects, gratitude multiplies. Yet all these laws rest upon one eternal foundation. God is your source. Without this, the structure of wealth crumbles. With this, nothing can be taken from you. Florence Scovel Shinn declared that money is never the source. It is only a channel. Jobs, clients, investments, even strangers who bless you. These are streams. But God is the ocean. And if one stream dries up, the ocean remains. When you know this truth, fear dissolves. Think of a lamp. The lamp is not the power. The lamp does not create light. It is only the vessel, the channel through which electricity flows. You may move the lamp. You may change the bulb. You may replace the wire, but the current remains steady and eternal. Your life is the lamp. Your income, your business, your opportunities are the bulbs. They may change, but the divine current of supply never ceases. God is the current. When you cling to channels, fear takes root. You say, if I lose this job, I will be ruined. If this client leaves, I will collapse. If the market shifts, I will be destroyed. But when you anchor to the source, confidence rises. You declare, even if this channel closes, the infinite opens another. My good cannot be lost. My supply cannot be cut off. God is the well that never runs dry. This is the inner shift that ends financial slavery. When you see money as God, you worship a false idol. But when you see God as the source, you live in freedom. Each time you receive money, whether a paycheck, a gift, or even a single coin, pause and whisper, thank you, God, the source of my supply. Each time you face an expense, declare, this money comes from the infinite. Channels may change, but my source is eternal. Train your mind to look beyond the vessel to the current. God is my supply. Channels may change, but the source is eternal. I do not fear loss, for the infinite provides in every season. Picture yourself standing before a great fountain. Water pours through many spouts, each representing a channel salary. Business, investments, blessings, but your eyes are not fixed on the spouts. Your eyes are fixed on the reservoir, the hidden spring feeding it all. The spouts may shift, but the spring never empties. Do you feel the release in that? Do you feel the fear unclenching? That is the power of anchoring to God as source. The anxiety of what if no longer rules you. The chains of dependency fall away. You walk with a new rhythm, steady, fearless, triumphant, sacred declaration. You are no longer bound by fear of money. You are no longer a servant of channels. You are the child of infinite supply. The laws are yours. The doors are open. Walk in abundance, and let divine prosperity be your new normal. And so, we close. 7 laws, 1 truth. The truth that God is your source. Everything else is the flow of that one current. Hold this truth in your spirit, guard it like treasure, and live it boldly, for heaven's supply cannot fail. Thank you for walking this journey with me. If these teachings have stirred your soul, subscribe, share, and return each day for more divine wisdom. You are not walking alone. This path is lit, this truth is alive, and it is carrying you forward. 7 laws, 1 truth. God is your source.